Welcome to another edition of Planet Waves TV. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino, here to tell you a little bit about the upcoming astrology for the next week or so. The main event is going to be the Taurus new moon, and that coincides with an ancient holiday known as Beltane, one of my very favorites of them all. I'll tell you a bit about that as well. While I have you here at the top of the program, please remember to click on the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That gets us additional privileges as we increase our number of subscribers. Thank you for the awesome, unexpected popularity of this video podcast so far. All right, let's start with a chart for the sky as it is now, an overview. I don't usually use a full-scale chart, but all right, we'll get us all on the screen here one way or the other. First of all, you can see that the new moon is happening because the moon and the sun are in the same degree of Taurus. So there's Taurus, and there's the same degree, and there's the same arc minute, 16, Taurus, 41, sun, moon in the same place. And when the sun and moon are in the same place, that is the definition of a conjunction. All right, so while this conjunction is happening, Mercury is retrograde. You can see it's retrograde because that little RX next to it, which means it is proceeding backwards. So it's going to be backwards in metric of astrology. It's going this way. Oops, this way. All right, see that? It starts here, 21. Its number is going down. Everything else's number, like the sun, the moon, and Venus, their number is going up. So on the one hand, we have Mercury passing between the sun and the earth, and that's Mercury retrograde happening at the same time as the Taurus new moon. And then over on the other end of the zodiac, down here, almost opposite, Mars is retrograde, and Mars is heading in the direction of Scorpio. So for now, for a while, Mars will be in Sagittarius, heading for Scorpio, and I've been offering my theory about what that is over and over again here, which is to say that the Sagittarius dimension is kind of like this religious dimension of belief and isms and theories and philosophies, and then beneath that is a kind of a what you might think of as a biological and emotional and hormonal, that's biological level of reality connected to the body, its feelings, its wants, its desires, often operating on a subconscious level, and the planet Mars is going to head from Sag, this very kind of mentally active area that involves all these things we can debate and contemplate, and it's heading for a biological zone of the zodiac known as Scorpio, where you have the feeling of, wow, I can't help myself, I don't know why I feel this way or why I act this way, and so forth. We're not there yet. All of Mercury retrograde is going to happen prior to Mars retrograding into Scorpio. So the way I've been looking at that is that Mercury retrograde is a kind of a preparatory phase for Mars in Scorpio. Now, Mercury retrograde in Taurus is, it's first of all, I think on one level, on the mental plane, it's about a questioning of priorities and a questioning of values. And we have a lot of controversy over values in our culture, and values really are a representation of what is important, but I think consistent with A Course in Miracles theory of what a belief is, a value is something that we act upon. So if you think you have a value but you don't act upon it, then it's not really a value. If, for example, you say that your value is to be supportive of artists, but that's just a theory, then it's not really a value. It's more of a concept. And so the idea of a value, as demonstrated by Mercury in Taurus, is an action that you take. And then that action roots into a belief that you have that you feel strongly enough to act on. So you might say that your values are based on the things that you actually do rather than the things that you say are important. All right. And so we get a lot of this demonstrated by both of the retrograde planets. Mars retrograde in Sagittarius is a question of where belief meets action, and then Mercury retrograde in Taurus, right? Mars retrograde in Sagittarius is a discussion of where belief meets action. Mars being so action-oriented, and then Mercury retrograde in Taurus, this is confusing, is a similar statement. So we've got these two retrogrades. The idea here being that there's, and it may be confusing to be experiencing this. It's certainly getting confusing to describe it. That we have Mercury retrograde up here in Taurus. That's a discussion of values, and I think calling for a re-evaluation. And then right down here, Mars retrograde in Sag, that is calling for a re-evaluation of belief. And both are saying, well, think of belief as being demonstrated in action, and if you take action on that thing, you believe in it, and if you don't take action on that thing, you don't believe in it. And so what we have is this extended phase of reevaluation of all these things, which I can tell you, as being one of your fellow humans, is not that popular of a thing to do, right? Most people would rather act and not wonder why they're acting, or claim to believe something which they're not necessarily supporting by action. And now is the time to bring all these things to a form of conscious recognition and conscious analysis and reflection. One of the ways I think of retrogrades is as review phases, review periods. Review periods is a concept that I got from working with A Course in Miracles many years ago, where basically every 3 weeks you stop and review. Planetary retrogrades don't happen that often. Mercury retrograde, which occurs the most number of times for any planet, occurs 3 or 4 times a year for about 3 weeks, therefore 3 weeks out of every approximately 4 months. And this is a time to pause. And I think one of the things to pause on doing is on spending money. It's also a time to pause on initiating new things, which means it's a great time to finish old things. We do a lot of starting things and not finishing them in our society, and it is useful application of astrology to use it as a planning tool, that you have a kind of a pre-programmed time when you're going to complete things, when you're going to review things, and when perhaps based on that kind of reflection you're going to decide what you're going to do and what you're going to invest in when Mercury stations direct. So these review phases are helpful. Mars retrograde, for its part, is a review of, I think, what you want, a review of action. And again, one of these reviews where you're looking at that place between belief and action. So we get a meaningful, I think genuinely spiritually meaningful moment here with these two retrogrades happening simultaneously. Then when they're done, we get a fairly long stretch well into the autumn where there will not be inner planets that are retrograde. All right, so just one last quick view of this, and that is, notice the grand trine here. This is a triangle. Triangle links together 3 kind of groupings. One is Jupiter down here, one is Pluto right here, still getting used to this reversed business, and then one is the group that is in Taurus. Notably, Venus has arrived in Taurus, and that is it's kind of running counter to all this review. It's kind of like saying, okay, you can ponder and think about what you think about is important, but then here's Venus. Here's something of actual value. Here's something, we're going to show you something or someone that you actually care about and give you a direct experience of that caring without the necessity of doing too much thinking about it. It's always appropriate to appreciate what you have, and Venus in Taurus is also suggesting that you appreciate what you have. And Venus in Taurus is all about having the good things in life, and I think more than about having them, it is about the experience of them. And for example, if you love your musical instruments, play your musical instruments. If you love your art supplies, paint with your art supplies. If you love your dog or your cat, spend lots of time with your dogs or your cats and make sure that they know you love them, and do the thing that animals love, which is to give them lots and lots of attention, and you get the benefits of all of that. You get the benefits of actively expressing your appreciation. All right, let's flip this thing over and talk about Beltane. Here's a little bit closer in view of this kind of chart thingy. They're not as hard to understand as you think, but you have to take it gently like any other new instrument that you are playing. So notice that the sun and the moon, again, are in this exact conjunction. That's the new moon. One thing I'll say is that a new moon this close to something called the Aries point, which I didn't describe what that is. Let's go back. The new moon is taking place at 1641 Taurus. That's almost the dead center of Taurus. The center of Taurus is 15 degrees even. If we look at that, 15 degrees of Taurus right there, we'll see that it's just over 45 degrees away from this invisible point, which is the beginning of the zodiac, and that's the first degree of Aries. When there's a new moon in the middle of Taurus, it can have some profound effects. There can be a real shuffling, a real changeover. There can be some energy that is moving, and we can have what is called an Aries point effect, where things of a personal nature ripple out into a kind of a larger sphere, and things that happen in the larger community manifest on a level that is personal. So be aware of the fact that you're kind of standing in an echo chamber, and that things coming inbound are also more amplified. All right, now let's take a look at this Beltane bit. When the sun reaches 15 degrees of Taurus, we have an ancient holiday called Beltane. There are ancient holidays when the sun is at 15 degrees of any of the fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And if you notice, right around those time periods, whenever there is when the sun reaches the middle of one of the fixed signs, there is often a concentration of holidays. There's also a concentration of holidays that tends to happen when the sun changes seasons, when there's a new season. The Beltane holiday is the holiday of basically sex devoted to the goddess of love and abundance. For those with Christian sensibilities, this seems patently absurd. If you're somebody with any leanings at all in the direction of the old religion, this is one of the brilliant things that we're kind of granted as a gift from the old religion, which is we get this opportunity to celebrate love and abundance. So you might say, put it simply, you're fucking for the goddess, and it's best to do this outside if you can, and find a place in the woods somewhere where there's not going to be a lot of people, or hopefully not any people around besides you and whoever you bring with you, and you basically have sex to honor the earth and to honor your life and to celebrate existence in a conscious and loving and beautiful way. The opposite holiday, Samhain or Halloween, is the opposite concept, where we honor the presence and the reality of death, and we honor the spirits of the ancestors in such a way that we are kind of making friends with the idea of the transition to the other side of the veil. But when the sun is in Taurus and we have the kind of opposite corresponding holiday, the thing that we're making peace with is the fact that we are in body. We are here to love and to create and to experience our senses and to actually enjoy experience. And one of the things you enjoy about experience the most, I do know this about you, is you love sex. But the idea of Beltane is not so much sex that's designed for some political purpose or some ulterior purpose, as much as it is a direct acknowledgement of the beauty of existence. Now, add to that a new moon right on the Beltane degrees, and this to me is my concept of when the kind of exact Beltane is, because when you have a lunation right there, sometimes there is one every few years. There's an exact lunation. For example, a new moon or a full moon aligned with these degrees, that is a kind of an invitation to take note of that and combine a solar event and a lunar event. So this is what we get. So we get an important solar event, the sun reaching the midpoint of a fixed sign, and then a corresponding lunar event, the moon showing up there at the same time as well. This is all happening in a trine to Pluto, right? Oh, nope, trine to Pluto. Pluto is here in this silly mirror image world of video. So you can tell it's a trine, first of all, because there's these green lines going down there, but you shouldn't need the green lines. And you can just see that the sun and the moon are at 16 and Pluto is at 17. That's an earth sign. That's an earth sign. that is a trine. And so there is an opening indicated. That is what a trine is a kind of a point of ease. In Chutes and Ladders, it is a chute. And then there's another one, which is this trine here to Jupiter. And so when you have all three of these points in the middle of the Earth signs covered, for example, that is a grand Earth trine, and that is a rare and beautiful thing, and we are in that now, and therefore everything that this astrology represents is in some way magnified or amplified, and the grand trine aspect is a kind of a vortex or whirlpool, and it's an opportunity to set patterns in a way that is somewhat similar to an eclipse. Okay, that is basically what I have to say to you for this week, except to mention that we are involving you in a kind of a membership drive. Planet Waves is a member-supported operation. I'm not sure if you're seeing my YouTube presentations. This is the only thing we do, but Planet Waves also has a free daily magazine. There are 2 different radio programs affiliated with the Pacifica Network, Planet Waves FM, and then, which is all over our YouTube channel now, and then the Miracle Hour. All of this is supported by you. We have no corporate, government, grant sponsorship or anything like that. I am the sole investor of Planet Waves, in addition to all the people who send in memberships and purchase products of various kinds, and they are really good products. I don't do anything that I do not pour my heart and soul into, and I take the study and the expression of astrology seriously, because I know that the words I say influence your life. You're going to make decisions based on what I say, and so I'm very careful about what I do. And these readings, for example, the Taurus birthday reading, which should be ready early the week that this comes out, sometime definitely before the new moon. I'll have that thing pulled together. It'll be a combination of video and audio. And additionally, something I'm really excited about is that Planet Waves journals have come in. Now, there's our little Planet Waves logo there. See, isn't that kind of subtle? And with nice thick book with good quality. I've been searching journals for months, trying to find the right journals and the right company to print them. I wanted to do anything for membership except t-shirts. There's some irony to that, because I've come back around to t-shirts in a kind of a strange way. So these are available to those who get a 1-year core community membership to Planet Waves, which basically gets you full website access and all the horoscopes and lots of other great stuff as well. But before I got these, I thought, I'm not finding the right journals. I'm not finding anything that I personally like enough. I mean, I spent months getting samples of journal books and of pens and pencils and all this stuff to find the right thing. And my message for you in giving you pens, writing implements, or a book is to express my support for your internal growth process and your creative process. There's not that much that's that creative about coffee cups. They're nice. I happen to love cups. We may yet do one. Branded t-shirts, the same thing. I'm kind of getting to the end of my tether with branded t-shirts. So I couldn't find any journal books I liked till I found that one. So I started making them. Oh, here's the red version, and these are in red, blue, black, and purple. All right, got 4 kinds while supplies last. So I couldn't find journal books I liked till 2 weeks ago when I ordered these. So I started making my own. I thought, why not make my own? So I found a source of good acid-free, super high quality, like artist quality, heavy paper, acid-free paper, and started painting these books. And I've done about 25 of these books. I'll keep showing them to you. Each one is absolutely unique creation. That's not supposed to be ringing. And so here's another one of these hand-painted books. I've got a series of these with the different circle, and again, each one is an absolutely unique creation. In the process, I'm actually learning how to paint and how to do things with, for example, with acrylic inks, and all really good quality books that are designed. They're not like perfect creations. They're designed to be used and bent and worked with and worked on, and to kind of make them your own rather than have them be some kind of precious thing that you're afraid to touch and write in. So that's the spirit of them. And these are available if you get a 1-year Backstage Pass. Backstage Pass gets you readings every month plus 2 extra readings a year plus website access, all the horoscopes and all that stuff. That's what I've got for you. Now the t-shirt, the like, this is ironic t-shirt thing is, well, I started painting books and then I started painting t-shirts, but I didn't like the way they were coming out. So I learned a way to do a kind of a reverse printing on the t-shirts where I paint on a kind of a slab of Formica, and then I spread the t-shirt on it and pick up the ink, and I get a interesting stylized. Can you really see this? It's kind of like, let me unbutton this. I've got my little microphone here. So I'm not sure quite how to offer these, but I'm thinking of doing them custom. Like if you tell me what size you want or send me something and I'll do it. They're great fun. They're easy to make, and I am planning a summer of wearing only hand-painted t-shirts that I have made. But anyway, that's slightly off the point, but painting is fun. It's good for you. It's the kind of opposite of music. So it's like music on the one side, painting on the other. Painting is actually easier to do than music, and whatever. Okay, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.